Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and this Ethereum chart shows us where the bottom might be coming into play. I will also be analyzing some on-chain data for Ethereum and more later in this video. And just before we jump into it, make sure to drop a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these future updates that I post every single day. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Ethereum to US dollar chart on the 12-hour time frame, and we've still got this falling wedge pattern. And right now, this point of resistance is coming into play at around 3.9k approximately. So basically, before Ethereum can flip bullish again in the shorter term, that would be one of the first major milestones Ethereum needs to get above. And anything above this descending line of resistance, I'll be looking towards this previous high, because of course, if Ethereum is to begin any sort of recovery or short-term uptrend, we need to break above this previous high, which is coming in at just above 4.1k. So those are the main levels of resistance that I am paying attention to for Ethereum right now. And by the way, if Ethereum can break above those points, then the technical price target for this pattern is towards the top of the wedge, coming in at around 4.7k. But remember, that only comes into play once we see a confirmed breakout, which is not necessarily guaranteed. If you want the stats for this pattern, around 70% of the time, this pattern breaks to the upside, and about 30% of the time, this pattern breaks to the downside. And in that case, if we see another rejection here, then this level of support is coming in at approximately $3,500 US per Ethereum. So that's where I'll potentially be looking at next for Ethereum, around 3.5k to 3.6k. If we see another rejection from this descending line of resistance, which right now it is still a waiting game, just to wait and see what happens at this point of resistance. And what's really interesting here is that the Ethereum price has been playing out a shorter term bounce here immediately after the 12-hour RSI for Ethereum reached the bottom of this RSI band, very close to oversold territories. And the last time that happened was back here in around the middle of November. And what came next for Ethereum? Well, we saw an immediate bounce to the upside, followed by more sideways price action. And speaking about the RSI for Ethereum, zooming out here to the daily time frame for Ethereum and checking out the RSI, this here is really interesting, because if you look at all of these major corrections in the Ethereum market previously over the past year or so, the majority of these pullbacks in the price of Ethereum throughout the last 1 year approximately have resulted in the daily RSI for Ethereum reaching this level just here, which is coming in at around 35 on the daily RSI for Ethereum. And we have seen multiple bounces along that exact level of support in the past. And just a few days ago, we actually saw a bounce from that level, which means there's a good chance that the potential room to the downside is limited compared to the room to the upside, at least looking in the RSI. And so does this mean Ethereum has now bottomed out? Well, if you're looking at what happened in the September correction, then there is a good chance that Ethereum has potentially reached its market bottom. But with that being said, looking in the crash that we saw back in May 2021, as I said earlier, that brought the daily RSI for Ethereum right down to this exact level right here. And even though that was a bottom, that was not necessarily the bottom for the correction, because you can see in that scenario, we had one more move to the downside before then Ethereum began bottoming out. But you can see that that next move to the downside was nowhere near as big as that initial move to the downside, which is why I was saying earlier that the potential room to the downside is limited compared to the potential room to the upside. But to perhaps provide a little bit more confidence with this RSI, zooming out to the 3-day time frame for Ethereum, you can see that the Ethereum RSI on this 3-day chart bottomed out at this exact support level, coming in at around 39 back in the middle of 2021. And right now we are getting very close to that level, but we haven't actually hit it just yet. So we could potentially be looking at this Ethereum chart if we do play out one more leg to the downside, as I was just talking about in that potential scenario, because in that case we could be looking at this support level in the 3-day RSI for Ethereum. So how can we use this information and turn it into a strategy for Ethereum? Well, considering the fact that the Ethereum RSI on these larger timeframes is closer towards these support levels and closer towards oversold than we are towards overbought territories, when you consider that, you would understand why my personal Ethereum strategy recently over the past couple of weeks or so has been simply to dollar cost average into Ethereum and hold that Ethereum for at least the next few months. And so that is how I'm using this in my Ethereum strategy, basically to determine a good time to accumulate, and in the future a good time to perhaps take some profits as we start entering into overbought territories. The last 2 times that I was telling you that I was dollar cost averaging into Ethereum and holding for the next few months was at the end of September and also during the middle of 2021. And you can see what happened next for Ethereum. And just before we get into some other important Ethereum charts, we'll first take a look at some on-chain data for Ethereum. I've just hidden my face cam so you can see the data behind me just here, but basically the black line right here is the Ethereum price on the daily time frame, and this purple line is the total amount of Ethereum sitting on exchanges. And right now, and really over the past year, the amount of Ethereum on exchanges has been constantly declining, which basically means there's a lot of people accumulating Ethereum and moving that off exchanges, And in fact, around 1 year ago, back in the beginning of 2021, there was around 24 million Ethereum sitting on exchanges. And right now, there's approximately 17.3 million Ethereum sitting on exchanges. So in about 1 year, there's been approximately 6.7 million Ethereum move off exchanges, which equates to around 25.5 billion US dollars at the current price of Ethereum. So obviously $25 billion worth of Ethereum is a lot of Ethereum. And so the fact that that is no longer sitting on exchanges, that is a bullish sign to see for Ethereum's long-term future, because anytime there's Ethereum sitting on exchanges, that Ethereum can easily be sold at any time. Compared to Ethereum sitting off an exchange, it's harder to sell without an exchange. And in fact, what we normally see leading up to a major crash in the price of Ethereum is a lot of Ethereum getting deposited back onto exchanges, because once again, that means Ethereum investors are wanting to sell that Ethereum most likely. So where is all of that Ethereum now? Well, there's a good chance that the majority of that Ethereum is staked under the Ethereum 2.0 deposit contract. This chart just here shows us the total amount of value staked under the Ethereum 2.0 contract, which is currently worth over 33 billion US dollars. So once again, this is bullish for Ethereum's long-term future, because this is $33 billion that can now no longer be sold until at least Ethereum 2.0 gets released. So essentially, this has taken over $30 billion worth of Ethereum away from the circulating supply of Ethereum, which is making this circulating supply of Ethereum scarcer and scarcer as time goes on, and as more and more Ethereum gets staked under the Ethereum 2.0 deposits contract. Now checking out the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart here on the 3-day time frame, and of course we have that symmetrical triangle pattern that I was actually talking about on the channel a few weeks back, and you can see here that within the last 1 to 2 weeks, Ethereum has retested this previous line of resistance, flipping it into new support, which is obviously a bullish signal for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And technically the price target for this pattern is still valid while Ethereum is still sitting above this line right here. And by the way, this line that we need to be holding above is coming in at around 0.077 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And the technical price target for this pattern is coming in at around 0.1 Bitcoin per Ethereum, which from the current price of Ethereum on this chart to that price target is still another 20% gain approximately. And remember, if that does play out, that is a 20% gain against Bitcoin, which doesn't necessarily mean a 20% gain against the US dollar, because of course that would depend on what Bitcoin's price is at that stage. And finally, giving you a quick update on the Bitcoin dominance chart here on the 3-day time frame. Right now, the Bitcoin dominance is seriously on the edge of this support level, potentially about to break to the downside here, but we haven't seen a lot of confirmation. For example, seeing some major candle closes below this line of support, we haven't seen that just yet. And by the way, this line of support is coming in at around 39.5%. Then that would basically act as a continuation in this altcoin season that we have been in for the past few months. And for the beginners out there, an altcoin season is basically when the Bitcoin dominance is going to the downside, because when that is happening, that means the altcoins are gaining more and more market share away from Bitcoin. So essentially the altcoins on average are doing better than Bitcoin. Obviously that is not going to be the case for every single altcoin out there, but when we see this happening, we do see a lot of altcoins outperform Bitcoin, whether that's holding up better than Bitcoin during a market correction or outperforming Bitcoin in terms of seeing a bigger pump than Bitcoin if we're looking more bullish. And if you want to stay up to date in the crypto markets at all times, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. If you enjoyed this video or got something valuable out of it, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. As always, I appreciate all of your support in the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. And before you click off, you might as well check out one of these uploads if you haven't already. But that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.